welcome. This is video number 4 of a 5-part series. This is just a quick 4-minute video, and we're going to go over the problems and things that you need to know about before deciding to move to Florida. This point here is about insurance, and I don't know if you know, but insurance in Florida has gone through major turmoil. Now, this is Anna Maria Island in Bradenton, and I'm at almost the main tip. I'm actually at Beans Point. So it's a little windy out here today as the sun is starting to set a little bit, but let's talk about insurance and what is happening in the state of Florida, because there's been so many changes recently, and by recently I mean in the last 2 years or so, that have caused the insurance rates to spike. But will they continue to spike, and what is going to be happening in the near future? You know, you should know about this. You know, our average insurance rate is $6,000. Although I own numerous properties and I have lots of friends that are landlords as well, what I do know is that all of my insurance rates have gone up. That even includes car insurance. It all started happening because of roofers. Now, roofers about 4 years ago or so started door knocking on people's houses and saying, hey, have you seen this damage that you have over on your roof? I can get you a free roof sign here. People fell for it. There was no damage, but instead of fighting it in the courts through a long legal battle that is very costly, the insurance companies decided to settle with a lot of people. And upon settling, they had to pay attorneys, they had to pay public adjusters, they had to pay all these people, and of course the roofers as well. So a lot of homes got free roofs, and then the law changed and they can no longer door knock and do that and try to get that business that way. Now, there's other ways they do it, so the scam's still going on, just not as full force as it was before. Now, the next thing that happened is obviously natural disasters, a series of hurricanes, Hurricane Ian, Hurricane Nicole, Hurricane Idalia. Yes, hurricanes happen all the time, but that does not mean that it's happening all the time in the area that you're thinking about purchasing a home in. In fact, on the east coast of Florida, they get a lot more hurricanes than the west coast, which is where I live. I live in Sarasota. And by the way, my name is Maciek Zaremba. I'm a real estate agent in Sarasota, Florida. If you have any questions about anything at all real estate related, please drop a comment and I'll answer you directly. So the insurance rates have spiked quite a bit, and Governor Desantis has taken a lot of measures and proposals to start lowering those rates. In fact, so many companies have left the state because they either went insolvent, or they just filed bankruptcy, or they decided to just leave the state because it was a losing proposition. We're down to about half of the insurance companies we used to have just a few years ago, literally 2 years ago. So now when you're shopping for home insurance, you have a lot less places to shop around. And when there's less competition, there's higher prices. And also, with all the losses the insurance companies had, they have to replenish the coffers and they need to profit a little bit. So that's another thing that they're doing, is they're increasing the rates just to help profit a little bit and offset all the expenses that they had. And Hurricane Ian in September 22 was a very big hurricane that caused a lot of damage and had a lot of payouts. I know quite a few people that were affected by that hurricane, including one complete 100% loss. They had the entire house redone. And of course, insurance paid for that. So listen to these few tips that you can take in order to get the most affordable home insurance. First of all, do not buy an old house. That is the first thing. If you can go and get a home that is 20 years or newer, that's really going to decrease your insurance rates. And the next part is, if you do have to buy an old house just due to affordability, do not get a flat roof, especially if that flat roof section is under a living space. So as an example, a lot of people have enclosed carports that they've made into the living space, and that's usually a flat roof or maybe a lanai or something like that got enclosed. Don't do it. There's not a lot of companies and you can't shop it, so just try to stay away from that in general. Now, this next part that is a little bit controversial is to attempt to pay off your mortgage as soon as possible so that you will have the option to self-insure or not. And I'm not a proponent necessarily for self-insuring, but I can see a lot of cases where it does make sense financially to do that. All that means is that you don't get insurance. You go get an insurance quote. Let's just say they say $7,000 a year. You put $7,000 a year into a separate interest-bearing account where you can start start making a little money with that money, but if something happens, well, you're gonna have to go to that bank account, pull out the money and fix your property. It is a very risky strategy and definitely controversial. So that was 4 minutes, but this is our last video coming up right here. This last video is about all the scammers, the contractors, the door knockers, all the stuff, the solar guys, all the stuff that's happening right now. You really need to know before you move to Florida on how this stuff is handled and what happens out here so you don't get taken advantage of. Watch this video now.